Well, International Nature Journaling Week is drawing to a close. Wasn't that fun? It's amazing what happens when you start, when you really put consistent time and effort into any skill. A day here, a day there, you don't see that progress, you don't see that advancement as quickly. But when you stay consistent and you keep at it, you do it again and you do it again, you can really see yourself getting better and better and better and fast. And you're thinking, oh, gee, I wish there was more. Well, this isn't over, my friends. This isn't over by far. So we're just getting started with this. But there are some things that you can do to help take what has happened to you and your brain during Nature Journaling Week, and keep it going. You see, your brain grows with the work that you do. So just like a muscle, your brain, when it gets the repeated signal, repetition, with effort, so your brain is struggling, doing something that's a challenge, like nature journaling, your brain develops new neurons. It gets denser and larger, so you make your brain better by the work that you put in. This week, you have changed the shape of your brain. It's a completely different structure because you've been doing so much nature journaling. And as you continue doing that, you're going to see amazing things happen. But I want to give you a few ideas and a little bit of strategy to help you keep this momentum going. Because there's something that can happen that will kind of derail this. We're going to point it out, you'll see it coming, and we're going to avoid it. Let's take a look at the document camera here for just a moment. Here we go. So this is a little graph of skill development over time. And you think that, as you are continuing to do something, that what's going to happen is you are going to continue. Oh, look at this little tiny insect. Look where that is. Little one. Hey there. So what we think is going to happen, what we imagine is going to happen is that, actually I'm worried about hurting the little one. Okay, there it is. Come on. You don't want to be under there. You don't want to be under there when we're doing all this writing. Okay? So here is, so you think that you're putting in consistent effort, that you get better with time. And yeah, that's kind of true. But the line doesn't look like that. What's going to happen is you're going to find that you're going to be kind of going along and you're going to make breakthroughs. And then there will be plateaus. And then there are breakthroughs. And then there are plateaus. And then there are breakthroughs. And some breakthroughs are bigger. And some plateaus are longer. But it turns out that one of the major things in the length of these plateaus between your next breakthrough is just how much work you're putting in. And when you put in more work, you're going to find that the plateaus are shorter and shorter. But there's a very interesting thing that happens. Let's say you're going along, you're sketching along. When you get up to the top of the new plateau, it is so much fun. You're like wahoo, wee-hoo, ha ha ha. Right? Everything is just it's a party right here. It's like you've got these new magic skills. And then what happens is you're going to be going along, you'll be sketching and sketching and sketching. You're going to get to a point where you will feel frustrated. You'll feel frustrated by this process. It's just not working out. You're just, this isn't quite, it's not just, something just feels off. And you'll kind of, if you have a really active inner critic, it'll start saying like, what are you doing? Like, you can't do this. Oh, come on, just give up here. But you see what's happening is that at each one of these points, right here, right here, right here, you actually felt the same sense of frustration. That sense of frustration is there because at this point you've been practicing these skills enough and kind of pushing yourself enough that you're able to perceive things up here. You're able to look up and see this corner. But you're still executing your skills down here, and the distance between those, that's the frustration that you feel. But if you just push it a little bit more, yeah, you pop up to that new plateau. So when you feel that frustration, just realize that that doesn't mean that, oh, I can't do this, it's time to give up. That means, oh, wow, I'm on the verge of my next breakthrough. And just a few more journal pages, a few more days of sketching, and you're going to be up here kind of, woohoo, ah, waha, right? Just looking around. And that's the way it goes. So when you feel that sense of frustration in your journaling, that doesn't mean that this isn't for you. It doesn't mean that it's a lot of people, they feel that and they go, I can't do this. They close their journal, they put it away. That's where they stop. But if you recognize that feeling of frustration is right before the next breakthrough, oh boy, you then, when you see the process, you get to go for the ride. Right? So that's what's going to happen. So what you want to do is you just want to keep training. You want to stay consistent and have fun with it. It's a joy. Take delight in the little experiences along the way, all the new things that you discover, the new skills that you get. Celebrate it. And when you feel that sense of frustration and just like, it's just not working, you're right there. You're right there. What's it going to be like to be here? So how do you kind of keep this process going? One thing is you want to know that process. The other thing is just to think about time. Let's think about time here. Because you say to yourself, all right, I really love this nature journaling, and I want this to be something that I do on a regular basis. Well, if you're gonna nature journal when all the other work is done, when there's that free spot in your schedule, guess what? That spot never arrives. That's a fantasy, the point where everything else is done. There will always be stuff to do. Before you were nature journaling, your day was filled every moment already. So what you're going to have to do is get out the schedule and make a date with nature journaling. You're going to have to plan. Where are you going to do this? Make time for that. Nature journaling is something that you give time to it. It will pay you back tenfold. But you have to figure out where you are going to do it. How many times a week do you plan to do it? What are you going to do to make it possible for you to get out there and do it? Now, the more consistently you can be able to do that, boom, 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 the faster you're going to see this development. Don't set goals that are unrealistic, though. You want this to be something that you can actually do, because if you say, like, I'm going to do just this every day, and that really doesn't make sense given the pace of your life, right? Then you're going to say, oh, I can't do it. You know, a lot of people, they're on a diet, and then they have a cheeseburger and a slice of pizza, and then they say, oh, forget it, I'm off my diet, and then they throw the whole thing away, right? So people in 12-step programs will tell you that, like, they had days where they had setbacks, and then they just get back on it again, and you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. So expect that. So make time for it, but set goals that are going to be realistic for you. Right? Think about what you can do to facilitate yourself doing this on a regular basis. You know, nature is wonderful out there, and if you can make the time for it, just the world just starts getting better and better and better and better, and you start to see all these just different layers of wonder and beauty in everything around you. And that changes your life. That changes your world in a profound and beautiful way. If you show up for nature, nature's going to show up for you. You show up for your journaling, this process, it's going to show up for you. It will work. Right? And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're putting in the time so that this can happen. A couple of things that you can do to help to to help make that even better. You know, there's some research looking at people who are going on diets. And they find that a person who I'm going to go on a diet, and they try to do it, most people fail. Most people fail with the goals that they set. However, there's one thing that totally changes the game, and that is if they have a buddy, if they have a partner. So if you and a sketching buddy, right, or perhaps that can be somebody in your family, then you can even take off the masks when you're sitting out there together, right? So if you have a partner, somebody who you do this with, and you can kind of look at their journal and they can look at your journal, you two are going to reinforce each other's process, and together you're going to get better and better and better, faster and faster and faster. When you do this with somebody, your progress will be much more dramatic than if you're just doing it by yourself. So that can be a family member, that can be a child, that can be your partner. Right? Now, if it's somebody out of the family, keep that social distance, right? But if you can do this together, this is something that will make every exploration, every adventure richer, every memory so much deeper. And it's going to pull your team together in a beautiful way. You'll have these shared common experiences that you'll look back on. When you journal, your memory is so much better for the things that are happening. So think about how you can do this with a partner or a team, and together you're going to grow together. That's a wonderful thing about being part of a nature journal club. You can start a nature journal club in your area, and when you do this with other people, all of you together are pushing each other. We often think of ourselves as just kind of lone wolf out there, but and when you try to develop on your own like that, it's hard. But if you embed yourself in a network, there you are. This is you. All right, so you're there. It's a completely different story. You have this whole support system cheering you on, helping you through those difficult parts. And so for that, I really recommend the Nature Journal Club. So the Nature Journal Club, it's a Facebook group, and it is a really wonderful place to come together, to celebrate nature, to get motivated to become a steward of the earth, to see the journal pages from all of these other people all around the globe. And also you can look there for announcements of other international nature journaling weeks. When we do this again, you will be the first to know. But it's a way to continue your development and continue the fellowship that you've had during this week. So, what's going to happen is, let's say you haven't been journaling a while, and this week, International Nature Journal Week, you took some of these classes and you started journaling. You went, wow, this is great. And then by the end of the week, you're doing even more. What's going to happen is, because you put in all this concentrated time, this is now a habit. This is your habit. And habit. I'm dyslexic. I'm not sure I spelled that right, but let's just assume I did. All right, so here's your habit. You're now, nature journaling becomes the easy thing. Right? You've been doing it enough, it just feels natural to grab your journal and go. And what's going to happen is that's going to carry you on. We're creatures of habit, so whatever is our routine, we do it again and again and again. And something like Nature Journaling, International Nature Journaling Week is great just to kind of turn this into your habit. You've been doing so much by the end of the week, it's going to carry you along. But then what's going to happen is there's going to be a point where life is going to come up, things are going to get crazy, and your amount of nature journaling is going to bam, right? and then you'll feel really bad about it. You'll feel like, oh, I'm a terrible nature journaling. I was doing all this great stuff, and now I'm not. Now, when this happens, again, some people feel completely deflated, like, oh, I wasn't able to be consistent, right? And so they close their journal, they put it away, and they move on. No, but when this happens, you know what you have to do? Just start again. Just go like, okay, cool. I'm going to start again. But just know you're going to have to intentionally push it here a little bit. I'm really going to like make myself do it. And then like, oh, it's my habit again. All right? And then something can happen, all right, and your level of nature journaling really drops off. And then you can notice that. You kind of like, oh, you just push it up there again. That's where this community comes in, right? They can really help reinforce you, encourage you to make it your routine. But just whenever you fall off, just get back up again. Just give yourself permission to start again, to start again, to start again, to start again. And you're going to keep on going. And because you put in this time, again, you get this process going on. And it's beautiful. This is something, the more time that you give it, the more it will change you. It will change your world. And it is such a powerful thing. You will discover that as you do this, you're not going to recognize the nature journaler that you were back here. A journal or two later, you'll look back and you're like, wow, I've got all these other skills. The more of these skills you develop, the more fun it becomes. And a lot of there's all sorts of parts that just sort of become automated. And it will happen. And it will happen to you. Drawing, nature journaling, it's not a gift that some people have. It is a skill that we can all develop to a really high degree of competency if we just start doing it on a regular basis. And you owe that to yourself, because the world is just that beautiful and precious, and we're here. We're lucky enough to be alive and sentient on this incredible planet. The tools for entry are very, very simple, they're minimal. And you start your nature journaling practice, the wonders, the mystery of the world is going to open up before you, and every step outside is an adventure. You'll look up at clouds, and you'll see clouds in a completely different way. Sometimes you're looking at them from the perspective of like, how could I draw that? And sometimes from a scientific perspective, like which ones are higher than the other ones? And why are those ones there that shape, but those ones down there are that shape? What's really going on here? You'll find your curiosity gets engaged with things that you've been looking at your entire life. Things that we've taken for granted will become sacred and beautiful and wonderful. So, International Nature Journaling Week has come to a close, but your process is just opening up. And I want to encourage you to go forward with joy, with hope, and kindness, with your nature journal under your arm, and see what we can discover in this beautiful world. I'm John Muir Laws. Thank you very much.